podcast. Today I'm joined by Rory. And we've done a really interesting thing today, right? Because he doesn't know what we're talking about, and I know exactly what we're talking about, and we're going to see how well he copes under pressure.
Yeah,
so he has no idea.
Not at all. I assumed that at some point, we've been sitting here for 20 minutes, I assumed at some point you'd give me a bit of a guide as to what we were going to be discussing, but really? You didn't, and then you just went, hello, we're live. Like, what?
This is what it's all about, isn't it? You keep on your toes. You class yourself as some sort of top-notch broadcaster on the YouTubes.
Whoa.
You lord it around the office going, you lot ain't nothing. Where I was over at TFR, we'd have shit done by 12 o'clock.
Yeah, they would have that done. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But that was the pro. All I do is tell you how it worked elsewhere. I'm not taking any credit for it.
Look, you don't give me that shit now. You've been lording it around like you're big bollocks for weeks now. Here's your challenge. Here's the litmus test.
Okay, this is terrifying.
You been watching it? You watching the football? Are you watching the football this week?
I've been watching. Yes, some. But it'd have been great to have a vague idea. I could have like.
No, I'm telling you now. Did you want to see? Actually, before we do that, for those watching on YouTube, please leave your comments in the YouTube channels. We're going to be answering your questions and whatnot as we go through it. And also, if you're listening to this on a podcast, remember you can always come over to us on YouTube and get involved in the communications. We are live, aren't we?
This is madness.
Yeah.
This is complete madness. They're rearranging the cameras and that now. Why did we start?
It's good.
Crazy decision. I'm coming out all hot.
And also, I can't see the stream.
It's up, don't worry.
All right, I got you. I thought you were watching. Lovely, jubbly.
We'll do this bit, you do your bit.
All right.
It's fair.
Mate, Sweden knocks out Italy.
Huge.
Out of the World Cup for the first time in something like 60 years. There will be no Italian team at the World Cup. As an England fan, how does that make you feel? I've got a few opinions on this.
As an England fan, it makes me feel good because I'm clinging to the dream that on some level there's some hope that England could do something.
You have you have no faith in Southgate at all. We can't.
No, zero, absolutely zero. I think it's a travesty that he ever got the job, and I have no faith. However, I'm also a deluded England fan who, when it comes to this time, or next summer, I'll be going, this time more than any other time. He's had a great season at Loftus Cheek. There's a chance, and I know that it's nonsense, but I do conform to that stereotype of believing when it comes round.
Yeah,
I mean, under Southgate, it really is clutching at straws.
I mean, the game against Germany looks all right. It looks exciting to some degree.
Flav, it's irrelevant. I remember going one Easter. I went to Berlin for an England-Germany game. England won the game 3-2. We then went to the tournament and got knocked out by Iceland on a Monday night. It's irrelevant what you do in a friendly.
Well, it's swings and roundabouts, I think.
Lots of cliches, yes. I mean, it's a game of two halves, and yeah,
exactly. Well, it's not. It's 2 games, 90 minutes. Not really making sense. But was you shocked to see it? I mean, Italy absolutely peppered Sweden throughout the game. But it's one of them things where the team on top. It doesn't necessarily. You take away from it that they're not the best performing team in that game. They had 75% possession. They had 26 attempts on goal.
And Sweden would happily concede possession. Sweden don't care about who has the ball, they care about whether Italy scores. So giving somebody possession isn't a hallmark of anything, and I think that Sweden would have been quite happy for Italy to have the ball in the positions that they had it in for the vast majority of the time. But no, I think this one's been a long time coming. I can remember when I was in Brazil in 2014, England and Italy were in the same group, and it really did feel like who's going to go through alongside Italy.
Yeah.
And was it going to be England or Uruguay? And it turned out that England and Italy both dropped out of that group. Costa Rica and Uruguay went through. And that was a bad Italy team. It was an Italy team that beat England, but it was a bad Italy team.
Did it say something about Conte's ability as a manager
absolutely.
to do what he did with Italy in the last Euros?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something that Antonio Conte is incredible for. It's taking average good to average players, but making them world class. And I think he did that with Italy because they had it's very rare that I can even remember things like this, but this just highlights quite how unfair I felt it was at the time. Italy had an appalling path to what would have been the final had they made it. I think they finished top of their group and they ended up playing Spain and then Germany. Is that right? Like it was really bad. England finished second in their group and got Iceland.
Yeah.
So the fact that I think Italy actually knocked Spain out, they beat Spain, didn't they? Beat Spain 2-0.
Yeah.
And I think you could make a case for Italy being one of the most exciting, interesting teams of that tournament.
Well, just the way they countered, they had three at the back, they countered brilliantly.
They had Giaccherini up front, a bloke who couldn't get in the Sunderland team.
That's right.
And yeah, they did very well. And it's what Antonio Conte is excellent at. It's creating a team that breeze past to some of their parts.
Yeah.
He did very well there. And it's exactly what he did with Chelsea last season when we won the Premier League.
Yeah.
Won the Premier League with players that probably didn't expect to end their career. Some players that didn't expect to end their careers with a Premier League medal.
Did you see De Rossi?
He was furious.
Refused to warm up, and he's saying apparently he said we need to fucking win, don't we? So if we need to win, we need to put a striker on. It's not his role as a player to say fuck you, I'm not warming up. Your role is to do as your manager tells you, surely. Yeah,
I don't know if I agree with that. I think sometimes a player, particularly of De Rossi's standing, he has enough understanding of the game and has played in enough high pressured environments to be able to make a case for what goes on. But yes, he should respect the manager and the manager's decision should be final. But in that situation, you're chasing a goal. Everybody in the stadium thinks you need to put a striker on. Everybody.
But isn't that like... Yeah, because not everyone has the capability to manage an international football team, and perhaps he had another plan. Like De Rossi comes in, enables other people to free other players up and change in formations. But he's completely undermined by his senior player, which...
This has been going on for a while, though. Yeah. I mean, that moment is one that will make the show reel. But this Italian manager has been, being derided for a long time, and people have been asking questions about him. And I think sometimes when you're desperate for a goal, don't overthink it. Just put a striker on. And De Rossi obviously thought it. I think his opinion's valid. Should he have displayed his anger like that? Probably not. Do you understand why he did? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame. I think it's good for England because I think England probably would lose to both Italy and Sweden. But it's good for England because if they're going to beat one of them, they're more likely to beat Sweden. It's good for the tournament because the Swedes travel in huge number.
Yeah.
So it'll be it's great to see that. They'll have loads of fans there, all decked out in yellow. It'll be good for the atmosphere of the tournament. Yeah. But yeah, I think when the Azzurri aren't there, it's a shame.
I don't care really. I'm glad.
I know you said it earlier.
Not bothered.
You've got no romantic feelings towards Italy at all?
None. Not at all. I mean, a mate of mine, he might be watching this, Bardi, I remember when he was celebrating Italy's win against England with and this isn't me being kind of stereotypical.
What one? The 2012 when they beat us on penalties. Pirlo chipped one down the middle, didn't he?
No, it's the one just recently when in
Brazil.
Yeah. Was it? I don't know. When Balotelli, it must have been. And he's eating pizza and pasta and going like that, and he was born in England. And for me, he didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Unnecessary. So from that point, I've always hated Italy. It was his fault.
His fault.
Yeah, it was his fault. Ventura refusing to go, just saying I ain't leaving. You can sack me.
He's doing a Roy Hodgson. How did Roy Hodgson have the audacity to stay in his job after what happened in Brazil? It was a new low for English football there. We were knocked out after 2 games. We didn't have to bother playing our 3rd game. Roy Hodgson led us into another tournament. The man with no shame.
You're bitter about that, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You travelled out there, didn't you?
I did. I saved up for 2 years and it was over after 2 games. But yeah, it's terrible. He should walk. He should hang his head in shame, apologise to the nation and leave. And I think it's appalling that he didn't. And I think a few of that team should do the same. From what I saw of the game, had I known this was going to be a topic, I would have studied it slightly more. But from my understanding, I think that Immobile should hang his head in shame.
Well, he's had an incredible season, but he didn't do it for it.
I know it's irrelevant though, isn't it? You have to do it when you have to do it when you have to do it. It's like turning up. The biggest players turn up when it's most necessary.
I mean, it's a shame for them in some way because Chiellini's gone. I think he's one of the greatest.
Yeah,
certainly in the modern era, he was absolutely superb. You got De Rossi's gone, obviously, so there needs to be a massive rebuilding thing, project in Italy, and I think that's a good thing. Ultimately, you got to bring new players through. They had relatively success in the youth levels. They got beat against England, and they reached the semi-finals in another youth tournament very recently. I think the under-17. So there is obviously some quality coming through there, but. We'll see.
See, Flav, had you told me what was going on here, I might have had something to say to this, but this is just a monologue for me because I have no idea.
You've made that point a couple of times. I don't know what do you want to say. I'll tell you something you can talk about. Actually, before that, Sweden have seen their way past France, Netherlands, and now Italy to qualify.
Yes.
Incredible, isn't it?
Yes, it's very impressive. Done very well.
Zlatan tweeted after the game,
I saw this.
"We are Sweden."
If I've understood the point correctly here, and there's no guarantee that I have,
Yeah.
he's making it all about him, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's the point is he's putting a Z in Sweden because there's a Z
Are you
in
sure that's not how
Zlatan.
you say Sweden in Swedish? With a Z?
Come on, mate. Don't be so naive.
Is it just for Zlatan?
Yeah.
That's why he's done it.
I mean,
you know, he can't. All of the questions afterwards in the press conferences were about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Does this mean he's coming back? He hasn't played for Sweden for 18 months. He's had absolutely no role in qualifying. And I get celebrating. I get it. Like, celebrate with your country. Well done, Sweden.
but don't make it all about you.
Don't make it about yourself. And this is a problem. This is my problem with him. Incredible footballer. Has done incredible things. Has literally done it all. But he can't see past his own ego.
You know, it's 5 years to the day. Do you remember when he scored a bicycle kick against Joe Hart from outside the box?
Yeah.
That was today. This is the anniversary of that, 5 years.
Brilliant. So
There you go.
He had
There
that
you
as
go.
well.
See,
So it's not like he's had enough accolades in his life.
yeah, look, I think that Ibrahimovic has a propensity to make things all about him. I think that he also possibly has the right to do that when you've achieved as much as he has.
Yeah.
And the question is, I mean, and it is a question on everybody's lips, do they take him? Do you sacrifice a winning team, a team that has done very well to be there, knocked out some of the best, as you pointed out? Do you sacrifice somebody from that squad to allow your megastar to come into the side?
No, absolutely not.
So you think football should be solely a meritocracy?
I just think they're not going to win it. I might as well go out with your own dignity instead of bending over for this ego merchant.
I don't know. I sometimes think that you'd be mad to have a player like that at your disposal, assuming that he recovers from his injury. And you know, let's pretend that he starts playing for Manchester United in January, scores 9 goals between January and the end, 9 league goals between January and the end of the season, and Manchester United win the league due to a goal that he scored.
Yeah.
Can you leave him out then?
Yes.
Based on the skill that the team has shown.
Even with him, what are they going to do?
They're probably not going to win it, but I think that the country will go into the tournament thinking that they can win it. And if they are going to have any hope, they have to have their best players available.
I think it's very unlikely they'll get back in. The manager's probably pissed off about it.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's brewing.
Really?
Yeah, he ain't happy.
Okay.
Well, essentially, because this amazing thing that Sweden's done, knocking Italy out, is overshadowed by the fact that this guy did a 1 3-word tweet, and that's how much of an influence he is over football fans. You know, he's done 1 tweet and it all becomes about him, the media, because they understand that's the story, not Sweden going through to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
I think if he's available, though, I'm probably in the minority here, but if he's available, you pick him.
Yeah, but that's you all over in it. You're like that.
I don't know what that means.
It means it.
I got the dig. I got that it was a dig. I just didn't quite understand the dig. Tell me.
Because it's all about success for you, isn't it? It's not about the glory or about how you achieve it.
No, it is about the glory.
Winning.
Yeah, it's about winning. It's about going as far as you can in every game you play.
Yeah, well, that's how me and you differ. I'm about glorious failure. Francis Kone has been awarded the FIFA Fair Play Award for saving 4 players from choking on their tongues by sticking his finger in their mouths and pulling the tongue out so the airway becomes clear. It's like, how has that happened 4 times? I've never seen it once in my life, and he's had it happen 4 times.
What, 4 times in the same match? Like in a row?
No,
like one collision
in
resulted
career.
in 4 men...
In his career.
Okay.
What's the greatest thing you've
didn't
ever
it?
done on the pitch or off it? What's the kindest thing you've ever done, bro?
The kindest thing I've ever done? I don't know. I've got a cat that I rescued from my neighbour who was treating it very badly, and I still own the cat.
And was there any fallout between you and the neighbour?
No, the cat. It was terrible actually. It was a neighbour.
Let's
There's
not
no way that he'll be watching this. I imagine. How many people are watching?
109.
Oh, man, that's quite a lot.
143. That's not bad, consecutive. Come on,
Man,
boys.
I don't know if I can tell the story.
Podcast.
Okay, there was this hypothetical cat once, right? That no, my neighbour had a.
10 just dropped off. Go on.
No, my neighbour had a cat, and then like the cat was lovely. They then got a dog, and the cat went a bit nuts. It started losing its hair and that, and just living outside.
Yeah.
So I just took the cat to make it my own, and like groom it and get it back to normal and make it happy again. And the woman just thought her cat had like gone. She didn't know, but she didn't treat it properly because she brought a dog into the house, freaked the cat out. I felt terribly sorry for the cat. The cat moved out.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the... I'm always very good to animals. I don't really have a story on the pitch. No, I have absolutely nothing I've ever done of good on the pitch, either playing the game or in a more worthy sense.
I've seen you do some decent things on the YouTubes.
Scored a chip against Copper 90. Can I have that?
Go and watch that. How do you find that?
Oh, God, my Instagram account.
which is
Chelsea Rory.
Chelsea Rory.
It's my name and it's a team I support combined.
It's his actual name. You're like this. Loftus Cheek's father, he says, Jose Mourinho held him back. He should have been playing. Everyone behind the scenes was asking, why isn't he playing? If Ruben was playing for Mauricio Pochettino, he'd have played 90 games by now.
It's true.
It's
completely
true. Do you rate him? Do you rate Loftus Cheek?
Yeah, I think he has a dazzling career ahead of him, and I think that when he played in his youth level, like when he was playing, it was men against boys. He was so good. He was so, but yeah, it was, men against boys partly in the fact that he's big, but also just in the way that he plays the game. His understanding of the game is so much deeper than anyone he was playing with, and it's absolutely true. I heard a story to this effect actually, which I think would demonstrate this point. When Chelsea, when everybody was talking about Dele Alli and this lad who had such a big future, so exciting, everybody was talking about Dele Alli. Chelsea had the opportunity to get hold of him.
Everyone says that,
right? Chelsea, but it's a terrible indictment on the way that Chelsea go about sort of their youth setup. So Chelsea had an opportunity to get hold of him and declined. And said, we don't need him. We've got a player that's better than him already. We've got Lewis Baker.
What?
Right. The truth is though, Flav, Lewis Baker may well be better than Dele Alli, but we'll never know because he's never been given the opportunity.
Well, what's he doing? What is he doing?
Lewis Baker's at Vitesse, I think.
Really?
Yeah, he's at Vitesse, but what I mean
is... This is a product of your system, which you in your past have defended, in terms of stockpiling these young players. And
I don't defend it. I don't defend it for my feelings on it. I defend it because of the point that it's what it's supposed to do. At the point of our youth system, it does exactly what it's meant to do. It makes lots of money for the club, and that's the point of it.
Does it frustrate you though?
Yeah, absolutely. It so much. I'm sure that you'd certainly be able to empathise with this. But I imagine everybody watching, the disparity between football fans and football players is growing to such a level.
It has been for years.
Terribly so. But when I was a kid, I used to go to Harlington and I'd kick the balls back. Gianfranco Zola, one of the best strikers in the world at the time. Who can I compare him to now? It's not the Messi Ronaldo, but it's not far off the Neymars. He was the main man.
He was quality.
Scoring goals for Italy that were beating England. He was incredible. He'd take free kicks and I'd kick the ball back to him as a kid. You just go down there, watch them train, kick the ball back to him. There'd be a five-a-side game going on. Dennis Wise would slide tackle Gavin Peacock. The ball would go out. I'd run and get it and give it back. What an empathy that I can have as a fan. Those days are so dead, right? You can't get anywhere near the players now. You can't get near Cobham. It's awful. But it's the thing that can make the thing that can bridge that gap is a player that comes through the youth system who clearly has the fibres of whatever club you support within them. Yeah. So a Harry Winks, a Ruben Loftus Cheek, a Nathaniel Chalobah, desperate for them to do well, and they understand because they're us. Yeah. Harry Winks is you. Yeah. He's just better at football than you. Yeah. And Ruben Loftus Cheek's me. He's just better at football and better looking. Yeah. But they're people that I can empathise with completely, and it's a shame that they're not groomed more and given the opportunity, because Lewis Baker is apparently, or when they were 17, was apparently better than Dele Alli.
It's so much about your environment and having the right
people
around
you
who believes in you.
And Mourinho shirks this one now massively. But Mourinho absolutely curbed his development. He didn't allow him to have any opportunity. And another man who I hold massively responsible is Gus Hiddink. Gus Hiddink took over at Chelsea when it all went wrong in that year, that 2015. Gus Hiddink took over. We were never going to make the Champions League places. Our season was over in January. So for the first time in about 20 years, Chelsea had from January to the end of the season where we had an opportunity to experiment. Yeah. We had one game that meant anything, and it was against Paris Saint-Germain, and we got battered. And then we had one more game in the FA Cup against Everton, and we got battered. So we played 2 games between January and May that meant anything. The rest of the games could have been training exercises. Let's give these lads a chance. Gus Hiddink just played all the first team, all the old guard, every game. It meant nothing. But why not play Charlie Colkett that day? We went to Villa. We went away to Villa. Up front, he's played Pato and whoever else. What are you doing? Let's just see if Tammy Abraham, this kid that we've heard so much about, just put him in and play him up front.
Give him an opportunity.
Game means nothing. We lose 4-0. It means nothing.
I mean, I would say that his reputation as a coach, interim coach, might have been affected somewhat by having a failing Chelsea team, even if it was experimenting.
He loved draws. He just didn't want to lose, because we went on a bit of a run under him where we didn't lose a game.
Does it? If he starts experimenting, it doesn't help him. And that's ultimately it's about him.
No, but it would have, in the end that year, we finished 10th. So pretend he'd experimented and we ended up say we dropped a few points because of that. Say we ended up finishing 14th. But Ruben Loftus-Cheek played 12 games for Chelsea that year, scored 4 goals, and then started the next season. He'd be the man who gave licence to this incredible kid who's going to accrue more than 100 caps for England.
Yeah.
But instead of that, he's a bloke who let Pato score at Villa. Who cares?
Arsene Wenger wants an international job after he leaves Arsenal. Would you have him in England?
No, not really.
So he's past it a bit.
He's not the right man
I'm
for the
saying
job,
this
is
in
he?
the week of the North London derby.
No, Arsene Wenger is not the man for it. You know, I appreciate that he's a very good manager. Was a very good manager. I appreciate, you know, season unbeaten, whatever. Loads of cases to say that he was a great manager.
Yeah.
But there's nothing to talk about. How long ago was that? When was the last time they won a league? 2004. No, of course not.
No, I mean they might have done it. I think it's 13 years since they've won it. 14 years, mate.
That would be 2004.
Yeah,
right?
fine. I'm just saying. Not very good at maths, so just doubling down really.
Yeah, Chelsea were 05, 06, Arsenal were 04. Yeah, right. No, I wouldn't give him the job. I don't think he deserves it. I think that managers should earn their job, and that's why I think that David Moyes' decision is really weird as well.
Who does deserve it? And who you can have in? If it ain't Wenger, if Southgate's no good for you, if
Well, the
Hodgson's no good for
FA,
you.
I don't necessarily
Did you
agree
like
with.
Allardyce when he come in?
I don't like. Allardyce isn't an inspiring manager, but I think he would have done well.
Yeah,
I think Allardyce would have done very well. I think it's a shame that one didn't go. I mean, we've given so many other people an opportunity longer than they deserve. We've given McLaren ages. We've given.
It's so weird. If you look back at our managers, the decision making of hiring managers.
Well, the FA are obsessed with this English. They thought they got it wrong, didn't they, with Capello and Sven, and have now gone.
Sven did actually all right. If you look back.
So did Capello.
Yeah,
So
he
did
had a
Capello.
horrendous World Cup, didn't he?
We got there though.
Yeah, we got there winning every single game
Yeah.
as well. PSG must find 80 million in order to remain within the boundaries of financial fair play. So they've done everything they've done. Mbappe, Neymar, in order to balance, they've got to find £80 million from player sales.
Are you saying that as if there's a chance that this may not happen? Because
No, I'm saying it in saying that everyone, the whole country and the world went mental when they'd done what they'd done in terms of Mbappe and Neymar, and all they need to do from their squad is find 80 million.
You know how easily a club, which is bankrolled by a country, do you know they fill that void in? You are my mate. You buy a box
Then,
at the Stade de France or whatever it is,
and but
I charge you
even
80
if they
million.
had to balance the books in the real sense, in that they had to
They sell one
players,
player. Yeah, sell 2 players. Yeah.
A couple of they could, like the shit that's happening with Cavani and the form he's in. They sell Cavani and it's problem solved.
Yeah. There's no problem. I mean, it was always a glaring error, and it was one that it was always going to be something that, when you think about the amount of resource at the big club's disposal.
Yeah.
And it's the equivalent of a bloke in London who earns massive money, works for a huge company, and you got the tax man after him.
Yeah.
The tax man, the top man at the HM Revenue would earn 75 grand.
Yeah.
The top man who looks after the accounts of one of these big companies, 600 grand.
Yeah.
So it's no problem. They balance the books. They got the right men for the job. Like a club like this just puts that to bed with.
I guess all I'm asking is that just people just wind it in a little bit.
I think the outrage on it's not something I empathise with. I don't quite I'm not an accountant, and I don't really approach football with that in mind. I like celebrating goals and knowing how many Sunderland fans are drinking in the Euston Flyer. Far more interested in that than yeah. So
Marco Silva has told Everton he's not interested in vacant managerial position. This is the Marco Silva everyone's touting to be the kind of next big thing in English football. He's done well with Hull. He's doing well with Watford, given the fact Watford seem this crazy football club. Is he showing the right amount of loyalty to Watford, given the fact that Watford sack their manager at the end of every single season?
I don't think he's necessarily. I mean, I don't know enough about the situation, Flav. Had I not, you get it. But I think what I can say here is I don't know if he's necessarily showing Watford loyalty, although he is.
Yeah.
If Real Madrid came knocking, I'm sure his head would be turned. He's not showing a loyalty to Watford.
But Everton's a much bigger side than Watford.
Yeah, incomparable. But hard job's going to. Very hard job. One that he probably doesn't fancy. He's in a good job at the moment. And that job, although it's a massive club and like huge amounts of potential,
it's not the right move
it's
right
not
now.
a good move. It's not good. Yeah.
The thing is, his stock, if he gets Watford into the top 8, which he could well do,
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
Yeah. Suddenly people are talking about him taking over from Wenger and all that, which is a ship that's ready to sail. Whereas Everton, through dodgy transfer negotiations, I mean, I remember during the summer, and I mean, I subscribed to it a little bit, but people were saying how well Everton did during the window. They were like, this has been a great window, and Everton have been fantastic. They've been moving from day one and all that, and I agreed at the time. People cleverer than me who know more about football told me that was the case, so I went with it. But now there's a glaring error. Romelu Lukaku scored, I don't know what, 80% of their goals, or was linked with 80% of their goals. Say they didn't replace him.
No.
Like, what chance have you got? Yeah, if you're gonna sell 80% of your goals, and you don't bring anyone in to score them, you're in trouble. So I don't think it's a move that would appeal to Silva.
Finally, Peru's Minister of Labour announces they...
What are you doing to me?
Bear with me. Peru's Minister of Labour announces that if Peru qualifies for the World Cup, it will be a national holiday.
Okay. Well, great. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I think that should happen here.
Well, I'm just wondering if you think that St George's Day should be a national holiday.
St George's Day? What, if you qualify on St George's Day? So
No,
it's like a double...
it ain't a national holiday, is it? Should it be?
St. George. I'm up for as many national holidays as possible. Let's have St. Patrick's Day, St. Andrew's Day. Let's have them all as St. George's Day, every single patron saint.
You struck me as a big Chelsea fan that you've campaigned in the past for St George's Day.
It's just...
Stop it.
It's just slanderous. But on that note, anything that involves an extra day off work is something I'm in favour of. So, yes.
Good. Amazing, isn't it, Peru?
Big fan of the Peruvians.
Yeah.
Not a big fan. Well, Paddington. I saw that film.
What about it?
He's from there, right?
Peru.
Isn't he? Paddington.
The Paddington Bear.
Paddington Bear?
Yeah, he's from Lima.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Isn't he?
Thought he was from Paddington.
Can someone comment? Is people watching this? Are we shouting
Is Paddington Bear from Peru?
He is, I know he is. If not, we have to cut this out because I look like a moron.
No, I think you might be right. From Peru. You know what else is from Peru?
Norberto Solano.
Yeah, he is. He's from Peru.
This is a great game.
What else from Peru?
The what are they called? Where you trek up. Machu Picchu. What are the guys called who Sherpas?
No, that's from the Himalayas.
Wow.
Who guides you up the Machu Picchu?
Tourist guides, isn't it?
Good question.
No, they're called Sherpas.
Guinea pig. Where?
No, that's a good show.
Do you know guinea pigs are a delicacy in some places in New Guinea?
What, guinea people eat...
No, there's
You
places...
know what they eat in Papua New Guinea? They eat humans.
No, they
I'm
don't.
not joking.
The Papua New Guineans.
Yeah.
I told you, one
No,
thing...
Carnivorous.
No, what we're saying...
He is Peruvian.
Paddington Bear is Peruvian.
There you go. Papua New Guinea, we're saying that you're saying there are cannibalistic tribes there.
Yeah.
So there's not everybody from Papua New Guinea.
No, but it's got like the highest concentration of
Cannibals.
people who eat humans.
Wow. You know, you can get terrible illnesses from being a cannibal, like really bad illnesses. So
Yeah,
thought
mate,
about-
I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
like...
It's not good. Not good. All right, it's
Is
great.
this on the running order?
No, we've digressed. That's it for the fighting cock.
Oh,
That's it from the Long Ball Street
I like
podcast.
it though. You got it in there so that people, if you wanted to find Flav and were wondering where,
Yeah.
it's at the Fighting Cock.
Yeah, come join us on the Fighting Cock. If you're Spurs fans and somehow don't know about my podcast, then you can come over and listen to mine. In the meantime, please keep sharing the love of the Long Ball Street podcast. And if you've only just come to us now, you can watch this back. But more importantly, go and download the podcast and listen to it on your way to work. It's as much fun.
Agreed.
Rory, thank you for stepping in at the last minute, even though you didn't know you've done it.
But it wasn't the last minute.
you've
That's the
played
thing. I wouldn't have minded if it was the last minute.
Played a blinder.
Thank
That's what
you,
I'm saying.
thank you,
This
but-
was a test and you've passed.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Nah. Well, you're doing something with Adam Boltwood right now, aren't you?
I am doing another podcast. I'm hoping he's still here
For what King of the Road?
for King of the Road.
What has he got to do? He's a Spurs fan. What's he doing on
Oh,
it?
it's bigger than football, mate.
Oh, is it?
It's bigger. It's
So
football.
why-
Everything that we do, people like everything that we do is football based.
Yeah.
But I try and take it beyond that.
So, why wasn't I in? Because I work with you. every
Mate,
day.
it's going to happen.
Is it?
It's going to happen.
Well,
When Chelsea play Tottenham, you're in.
We'll see about that. Can you stop? Bye. See you at the far post. Hit stop. Stop this immediately.